Hello, I'm Joshua Prentice with Orolia Defense Security. This video will go over the BroadSim operating system, our custom Linux operating system shared universally across all BroadSim platforms. The previous videos in the Intro to BroadSim series covered the unboxing and setup of the BroadSim. Now, we'll cover the basics of using BroadSim OS. Once the system is powered on, you'll be greeted by the login screen. There are 3 users, each with different uses and system capabilities: the BroadSim user, the maintenance user, and the root user. The default passwords are listed in the login section of the BroadSim user manual. The username and password fields are case sensitive, and usernames are all lowercase. It is highly suggested that you change the default passwords to something unique and memorable. The BroadSim user is for general BroadSim operations, day-to-day usage, and running the Skydel simulation engine. The maintenance user cannot be used to run Skydel, and is used for running the maintenance script and performing basic maintenance operations. For more information on the maintenance user, please refer to the security section of the BroadSim operating manual. The root user also cannot run Skydel, and is used to install plugins and configure settings not accessible by the BroadSim user. Let's log in to the BroadSim user and take a deeper look at BroadSim OS. Once logged in, you'll be greeted by the desktop, just like most operating systems. In the upper left-hand corner is the BroadSim menu. The BroadSim menu is where you will find all the utilities needed for using the BroadSim. The Skydel menu option is used to open Skydel. Documents is where you will find product documentation for the BroadSim, such as the operating manual and the Skydel user manual. Within the configuration submenu, there are several options that are only available to the root user, such as the plugin installer and several other options. Whenever an option is selected that cannot be run from the current user, an error message will be posted in the command window. If you've ever used Linux before, you'll be familiar with the terminal. The terminal can be accessed at any time using the hotkey Ctrl-Alt-T. BroadSim OS is a Linux operating system loosely based on Ubuntu, and as such, many common Linux terminal commands and functions are available. For example, the command ifconfig will list the network interfaces. The ping command can be used to verify a successful network connection. The ping command is especially useful when setting up master-slave scenarios between multiple systems. In addition to standard commands you may be familiar with, there are several commands unique to BroadSim that can streamline scenario automation. One such command is the Skydel launch command. The Skydel launch command can be used to launch, stop, and generally configure Skydel instances and spoofer instances. In this example, we will start a spoofer instance of Skydel and title the instance Spoofer Instance 1. While using the Skydel launch command from the terminal can be useful, the command is especially useful when writing automation scripts and when running the BroadSim remotely over SSH. For more information on automation, please refer to the BroadSim operating manual. BroadSim is a product that is under continuous development with software upgrades, bug fixes, and new features. Periodically, there will be new versions of the BroadSim OS available. To upgrade to a newer version of BroadSim OS, first check that your license supports the latest version of BroadSim. Open Skydel, navigate to Help, About Skydel. Within this pop-out window, the Simulator Upgradable to version is displayed. Ensure the version listed here is greater than or equal to the version of BroadSim you're trying to upgrade to. If the version listed here is not greater than or equal to the version of BroadSim you're trying to upgrade to, that means your license does not support the newer version of Skydel that comes with the updated BroadSim OS. If this is the case, please reach out to your Orolia Defense Security sales rep to purchase a license upgrade. To download new releases of BroadSim, you will need to have an OwnCloud account, access to the BroadSim Releases OwnCloud location, and a valid UMS. First, navigate to oroliads.com/software releases. If you do not have an OwnCloud account, use this button to request one. If you do have an OwnCloud account, press this button to be taken to the login page. Log in and navigate to the BroadSim Releases location. Download either the .iso file or the .hdd.img file of the desired BroadSim release. Also, be sure to reference the release memo for that BroadSim OS release. Once the file is downloaded, insert a blank disk into your disk drive and burn the image file to the disk by right-clicking and selecting Burn Disk Image. Once the image file has been successfully burned to the disk, eject the disk and insert it into the BroadSim. If you're using a BroadSim solo, you'll need to either use a USB disk drive or simply burn the image file to a USB flash drive using a program such as Win32 Disk Imager. Once the disk is inserted into the BroadSim, restart the system. The BroadSim should automatically boot to the installation menu. Once on the installation screen, using the arrow keys, select either Update System or Reset. A system update will preserve user data and update the software. A reset will erase all data on the OS drive and perform a fresh installation of BroadSim OS. As with any computer, it's strongly recommended to regularly back up your data, especially before performing a software upgrade. Once the installation is complete, remove the installation media and hit Enter. One of the best ways to interact with the BroadSim is to use remote desktop from another computer. First, ensure the BroadSim and the remote computer have a valid network connection, either directly over Ethernet or through a local network. Remote desktop connections use the remote control port on the BroadSim. See the networking section in the BroadSim user manual for more information on configuring BroadSim network settings. In this example, we will use the remote desktop connection program included in Windows 10 Pro. Enter the remote control port IP address of the BroadSim. The default IP is 192.168.1.197. Once the connection is made, log into the BroadSim. Once logged in, you can now interact with the BroadSim like normal. This concludes our introduction to BroadSim OS. For more videos on getting started with BroadSim, please visit the BroadSim onboarding page at oroliads.com/BroadSim onboarding.